what do you think about God?
Goddess.
Yeah. Yes. Queen.
I don't believe in the God of the Orthodox teachings, but I do believe in a higher power. I don't really know if she has an opinion on our lives or like an impact on our lives. What about you?
I think about this. I think about it all the time because, you know, I'm like so obsessed with religion.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I meet someone who deeply believes in God, their description of what they believe in is incredibly convincing.
Have you read Maria Bamford's book? Sure, I'll join your cult.
No. Oh my God. I feel like that could be the title of my book.
Do you know how much work this is to do podcast? So much.
So much.
Shut the fuck up about the sound. And we do it all ourselves.
Yeah, we're amazing.
Today on the podcast.
Welcome
Welcome to Yenta. We're doing a cozy episode.
It's just us.
It's just us. We've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we always have a guest on, which is fine.
It's fine, but
We never get to talk about ourselves.
exactly.
And what's the point of doing a podcast?
if we don't get the attention.
Exactly. We don't get enough of it.
Honestly, I'm shocked we've put up with guests for this long.
So annoying.
God, they're always talking about their careers.
Ugh, so boring. Well, I mean, honestly, like, I would love to hear from you guys. And by you guys, I mean 4 people listening.
All 4 of you.
Maybe 5 now. I don't know.
Probably.
Like, do you guys want to hear more pods of just us?
They're like, let's listen to the episode
Yeah,
and
that's
see.
a good point. That's a good point.
We'll see about that.
Like-
but yeah, please do comment and please leave us a
5
5 stars
stars.
and a comment. You don't even know how much it helps. It really helps. We're going to ping pong discussion topics.
Yes.
We'll each pick a topic and then we'll switch. And that's the goss today. We're just going to yenta about
Everything.
everything.
Do you want to go first?
Do I want to go first? I want you to go first.
Well, okay. We both started to watch Hannah Gatsby's Gender Agenda.
Yes.
If you don't know, it's the Netflix. It's Netflix's apology note to trans people.
Literally.
They're like, we know we have Dave Chappelle, but look, here's
But we did one
trans
mediocre
comedy.
stand-up special for you.
Yeah. And you know, it's sad because I really wanted to like it.
Yes.
Like, I am their target. We are their target.
Literally.
Audience. Maybe a little bit. Maybe we're not that target. I don't know.
Honestly, I think I'm more of their target audience.
Because you're more woke.
Yeah, because I'm more obsessed with looking like an ally at all times.
Yes, exactly. And
Which is why I made it through the entire special.
yeah, right. I couldn't even finish it.
I was like, this is my work. I'm showing up.
It was just
Ugh.
it just didn't rivet. It wasn't riveting to me in
Yeah.
a way that I wanted it to be. It wasn't like surprising or interesting, but maybe that just could be because I'm like familiar with the community. And yeah, what do you think?
Yes. I think that's so dead on. Okay, here are some of my notes.
Yeah.
Number 1, Hannah Gadsby opened it.
Yeah.
They were very loose. It did not feel like they opened with a set. It felt like they opened
with a rant.
with a pre-show announcement.
Yeah.
And a rant.
Yeah.
And it was long too. It was almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think ish. It felt long. And that was way too long to go without like heavy jokes. They just did a bad job hosting, literally. Like they just didn't rev up the crowd enough with their opener. And then I read a scathing, horrible review by honestly a lunatic.
Okay.
Like someone who was just like, trans people are dumb.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Who was in the audience. I don't know why they went, but they said there wasn't an opener before they started filming.
Oh, before Hannah went up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Hannah literally did open with like a pre-show speech.
Yeah.
So that.
But I mean, I feel like maybe it could have made a difference in how the comedians performed, but like it doesn't
As
really
a
matter
watcher-
how it was in the room, because that's all editing, right? Like they could have
Yeah,
easily
they
just
edited
added,
in laughs.
yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, as an audience member, even at home on my couch,
You could feel it.
I was not excited to keep watching
Right.
after 10 minutes of that. Also, so much of the material are in jokes that are already cliche within the queer community.
Yes.
Like, these are things that are being memed, that are being TikToked left, right, and center by every dummy.
Right.
Like, we're all already there.
Do you have an example?
No, I can't remember literally a single word that anybody said the entire night
Yeah.
because I don't remember anything.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. It's like jokes that the problem is it's like, you know, in the queer trans community, they're old jokes, but to the world, the whole thing is
It's
new.
an intro.
So I can see why they would do that, but also no one from South Dakota, that's a straight person from South Dakota, is going to watch this special.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
This is really, I don't know. It could have been targeted if they had marketed it differently. It could have been targeted at those people in South Dakota.
Yeah.
But the way they marketed it
Was for
was
queer.
for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they gave us stuff that felt old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's like a comet activism. Activist comedy. You know, like the brand of comedy
I
that's
know
like
exactly
a political rally, but it's also stand up.
Yeah. And you get a lot of just sound from people clapping
Yeah.
for your good opinions.
Yes. I can't stand that. I can't. I you know what? I'm not. I can't stand when you say you're queer, people clap. I think we're kind of past that. But if you say like you're trans, people clap, or like,
And it's like, and you say stuff like, you know, people should be allowed to choose their gender.
Okay, Kamala Harris.
Like, okay.
Yeah,
we get it.
We're like not. Yeah.
It feels like I will feel uncomfortable in any rally scenario. I like my like red flags go up anytime I'm in a big group of people where I feel like they're manipulating me to believe something.
100. It's culty.
It's so culty.
Yeah.
And even when it's stuff I agree with, I'm like, this feels like we're going down a dark path.
Yeah. Anything else to say on that? I don't.
There's one comedian who I think you didn't see, who I'm fascinated by because I've been following their career for ages. Alok.
Yes.
So I was aware of them in college because they were like a big name competing in slam poetry at the time. And I was competing in slam poetry at the time.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh my God, Alok. They had this group Dark Matter, which was them and another person who I think was also trans. I'm not sure. And they were just like tearing up. So I knew of them as a spoken word poet.
And you can see how that informs their speech. Yeah.
Their delivery is pure spoken word. It
Yeah.
looks like they're doing spoken word poetry, just funny spoken word poetry.
Right.
And I feel like it would literally kill at a spoken word crowd.
Yeah.
Kill.
Right.
Where people
they're
are
not
desperate for
expecting
laughs.
jokes.
Exactly. Where 12 people have gotten up
Yeah.
talking about their abortions.
Yes.
And like weeping and any jokes kill in that crowd. So like that's the crowd they're for. Their jokes are well written too. Like I thought their jokes were really well written, but their performance style is so not stand-up-y that it's hard to laugh at because it really kind of takes you out by being like, whoa, why are they talking like that?
Yeah. That is so. I mean, I've seen some of their stand up and clips and stuff. I didn't see that, but I totally. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that they were a spoken word person, but I have seen like their activism interview stuff that also feels very spoken wordy. I honestly they really
Alok, we're very impressed with your career. You should come on the show.
Yeah, please come on, Alok.
Yeah, like honestly, they I feel like are a amazing case study for someone crossing genres and when it works and when it doesn't.
I mean, it's working in that.
Yeah, like
they have their audience that's coming out to see them. They're paying for tickets. Yeah, they're it's working. But
so interesting.
Again, do we want to be a YouTube comedian or do you want to be a comedian that other comedians respect?
Okay, Ray, I know that you brought this up in the episode with Mateen.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it then, but I want to be a YouTube comedian. I don't give a shit about other comedians respecting me.
Okay.
Not at all. I just want an adoring crowd that shows up and sells tickets.
Wow.
Like these YouTubers going stand up. I'm like, you're geniuses. Oh my God. Like I heard. Okay. Here's my new topic.
Great.
Okay. I heard, do you know someone named, I feel fine saying their name because he's open about it. Pete Guercio. He does a show every week called Jetpack Comedy.
I know Jetpack.
I think at Bar Lubitsch.
Yeah. Avital Ash is on that show all the time.
Yes. So he seems like he's doing pretty well. I think he runs the show. He has a million TikTok followers. Okay. His stand-up clips are filmed in his apartment.
I've heard about this.
He doesn't have a green screen, but he built like a set. Like he built a curtain.
I heard about this.
And he uses
and the lighting and
a laugh track. And he has
track.
fancy lighting. And
it's insane.
And I want to know what you think about this. And then I'll tell you what I think about this.
Well, I feel like you love it.
I love it.
You're like, I never have to leave my house.
Literally. I'm like, that's genius. That's genius. You have 1 million followers. You are like booking shows.
Right.
Like, that's incredible. And he never has to leave his own house. Literally, as soon as I heard this, I was like, I have a green screen.
Yeah.
I was like, I should do this.
You could.
I totally could.
And you should.
I know.
And I wouldn't do that. But like, do I have hate for people who do that? No.
If I wasn't in the room.
No, I don't actually. I mean, listen, everyone like should do it in the way that they want to do it. Like that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, you're a cool parent.
Sure. I mean, this is a really interesting, differentiation between us.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've known that.
Yeah.
And, and listen, would I not take the 1 million followers from doing it in my apartment? Of course. I don't know why. I like the and please correct me. Like please I feel like I like the craft of it, and I feel like you can't really do the craft of it if you're not performing the craft. And like maybe it's an evolution of the craft to just do it on a green screen.
Like, I feel like it's different crafts at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like I think you're right. Like there's one craft which is figuring out a live audience.
Yeah.
And then there's another problem which is figuring out how to do it at home and still make it good enough that people want to watch.
Right. Exactly. And the craft at home is like editing.
Yeah, they're just two different questions.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. And I think like I don't know. The satisfaction that I get I don't know. Ooh, what do you get more satisfaction from? Killing in a live room or having a clip go viral?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Honestly, I get the most satisfaction from whichever is paying me the most money.
Okay. and that so the satisfaction is money.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like I'm such a business person about all of this. I'm like,
right.
If that 1 million followers is opening so many doors for him.
100%.
And like,
but it's also probably closing a lot of doors for the comedians.
Yeah.
That are, booking bigger shows.
Yeah, it probably is. So it's like, and I was seeing like, is he touring a lot? It doesn't seem like he is. I don't know if that's his choice or not, but it does seem like the kind of thing where like, if he's getting a bad name in the comedy world,
right,
then he's going to have to figure out how to tour in a different way.
Yeah, and it's closing him from like late night, probably.
Maybe.
SNL, Netflix.
But, like, do you think it is? I don't think it necessarily is.
Yeah, I guess maybe it would close him from like Tonight Show bookings, but maybe SNL would probably still book him if he had a big following on the internet. Yeah. But I do think it would stop him from the Tonight Show, but no one cares about that.
Except for us. We idolize the Tonight Show.
I know.
One day. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I feel like that's pretty like comic for comics thing.
Yeah.
You know, like you need to have respect from other comics to be on that Tonight Show.
I don't know.
No.
You need to have respect from the booker.
Right. But
and it depends on what he thinks.
Yeah. But the booker gets his recommendations from other comics.
Yeah. I'm sure it has some impact.
Yeah. And
well, that was my gossip.
What was the gossip?
That he's filming it in his
Oh,
apartment.
yeah. That's good. I mean, is it so different than filming a sketch in your... Yeah, I guess it is pretty different.
Is it so different than punching up a stand-up clip with fake laughter? I don't think it's different at all.
I think it is different. It's similar, but it's different because one is like you do have the real laughs in the room. You're just like making the laughs louder.
Can I tell you? I once saw the time that I learned about putting laugh tracks on. I saw this person legitimately get no laughs.
Oh,
and she was like, "Don't worry." And then I watched the clip, and she's such a good editor.
Wow!
And it really worked.
Who was it?
I'll tell you off the air.
Do I know her?
No. Oh, yes.
Nice.
She's a genius business person.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay, interesting. Like full disclosure, I've tried to put in laugh tracks,
and
it
doesn't sound good.
And to me, it never sounds
I think
good.
that's the problem.
So I never do it. But I feel like, but I wouldn't do it if it got no laughs in the room. I feel like that would feel dishonest. But I would do it if like, the mic didn't like get the laugh audio as much. I don't know. That's a fun topic. I also just like
what's going on with
the pillow? Fidgeting.
For the audio listeners, yes. Raye turned a 2-foot-long pillow into a fidget toy.
And that's my right.
And that is your right.
As the
you
co-host,
bought this couch.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on.
You can do anything you want with it.
Okay, next topic.
Okay.
What did we say we were going to talk about before this?
Our shows.
Yes, the JQ Pride Shabbat show. That was, so I did the JQ Pride Shabbat show. It felt like a really big deal because I was a attendee of the Pride Shabbat for the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it really is like my community in LA in a very real way.
It's very much your community.
Yeah.
Like
all my friends.
It was there. Basically like your entire community plus 300 gay men. Yeah, exactly. And all of Ikar. Yeah.
Too, which I have to tell you about the Rabbi Brous joke because
oh my God, how did it go?
Antonia, first of all, shout out to Antonia, the best person in the whole world, went through my set with me, helped me punch up jokes for like an hour and a half.
My pleasure.
Before the day of the show or the day before the show. And it was so helpful because I was just feeling really nervous and, it felt like a big deal show, but honestly, it really wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it would be because it was at the end. Oh, there's Rabbi Brous left.
Rabbi Brows wasn't even there.
She wasn't even there. She was there for like the beginning part, but we were kind of like the dessert part, you know?
No. So they put you on way at the end when everyone was exhausted.
When everyone was exhausted and like majority of the, I don't want to say important people, but like the
important people.
The people that like weren't just there for fun. Like people that were there for.
Yes. The funders.
The allies left.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So all the people that were there.
Them.
Yeah. All the people that were there were like the main core queer community.
Yeah.
And it was really, really nice, but it wasn't, and this is whatever. In my head, I was like, oh, it's going to be e-car people. And everyone at e-car is like a big producer executive.
They're going to cast
and
you.
They're if I can make a big impact and
this is your audition.
This is it. Or it could be. And I was like trying really hard not to think that way because it's so not helpful and so toxic.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter because
so
at that
nervous.
point everybody left.
And okay, how did the Rabbi Brows joke go?
It went well.
Great.
Yeah, it went well.
It was
Rabbi Jensen liked it.
That's good.
That's gossip, maybe. Well, I'm not gonna say what the joke was, so it's fine. She's
a tough laugher.
Yeah. She's a tough laugher. But she liked it, and yeah, it was just funny. Like people just they liked that. They liked that, you know, it was like a specific to the e-car room.
Yeah.
Joke. So that was a really good idea. I did the joke. I was like, oh, you know, like they must really be running out of queer Jewish comedians if they were gonna call me. And they liked that. And that's really it. And the Brows joke. And I did the nah men. That was like so silly.
Did it work?
No, not really.
Oh,
but
boy.
like I made it into like a whatever, like a punny, like nah man.
The joke.
The
joke was Rabbi Brows' book is the Amen effect, and Raye was like, how did you do it?
I was like, as someone who identified as a lesbian for a long time, I call it the nah man effect. And I said, like, that one's for me. Like, sucks for you guys. I love that one. And that was Antonia's brilliant.
That was my
brilliant line, yeah.
Look, I am my best audience member.
And you're great.
I'm like, that's genius.
You're such a good, like, punchy writer. Like, you just have boom, boom. Like, your brain thinks in punches.
Thanks.
And I'm learning how to do that from my book, Comedy Writing Secrets.
That's exactly right. It's on
okay.
Ray's bedstand.
Yeah.
And it's, what is it called?
Comedy Writing Secrets.
Oh, it's literally just.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the show was good. It wasn't great, and you know, it's like I know what it feels like to crush. Like I know, I can feel it in the room when I'm crushing. I can feel the energy. I can see how people come up to you after. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I wanted, and that's what I want from every show, by the way.
100%.
You know, I haven't really crushed like that in a long time.
Yeah.
And
when's the last time you did crush?
I don't know, maybe at least a year.
Yeah.
Which feels crazy to me. That's the last time I felt that I crushed.
Yeah.
It could just be that I'm getting harder on myself.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I objectively still think that you crushed the bass
show.
I think you're getting harder on yourself.
Maybe I'm getting harder on myself. Maybe it's like because when I first started, I just knew so little.
You were just like any laugh.
Yeah, but not any laugh. Like the room is just there for you.
Yeah.
Like they're eating out the palm of your hands every single thing you say. Like they want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I haven't really felt that in a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe it's also because now I have my energy is more anxious about comedy.
Yeah.
And when I first started, it was just such pure joy and love and like happiness and excitement to be there.
Yes.
But I feel like that's not sustainable. And like Mateen was saying, like you have to just really not give a fuck.
Yeah, I feel like this is a stage you pass through.
Right.
Like
I agree.
you go in with nothing but confidence and joy.
Yes.
Then the wind gets knocked out of your sails.
Yes.
You go through a dark night of the soul.
Yes.
And whoever makes it, and that's when everybody quits, and whoever makes it out of that dark night of the soul can just keep going forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of maybe where I'm at right now, is this dark night of the soul. I must have. Oh, you know when the last time I really crushed was? At the Girls, Gays, and Theys show. Olivia Brown, shout out, runs it at the Zephyr Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to or seen that?
I know the Zephyr Theater, but I haven't been to that show.
I love that room. That room is also just a really good audio room.
Yeah,
like
it
because
is.
you're kind of on the floor.
I did the
with
JQ show.
Yes.
There.
Yes. And
it was a great space.
It's just a great
It's
space.
just like an actual theater.
Yeah, that too.
It's really nice.
Yeah. And the audio. Yeah. So maybe it also could just be like the audio, the different,
room. You were also able to hear the laughter.
Yeah. And then I feed off really well. I also did really well at this other show that I just did at the sex shop. I'm being hard on myself. What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What the heck?
I've never done
that.
What was the topic in that one?
I have
We went
no
on so
idea.
many
Oh,
tangents.
our shows.
Yes.
shows.
Okay, you tell me about a recent show.
Okay. I feel like I haven't told you about my Atlanta show.
No, tell me.
It was so great.
Yay.
It was so great.
Okay.
Okay, let me set the scene.
Yeah.
It's for a Reconstructionist synagogue.
Okay.
Do you know what that even is?
Isn't Ikar Reconstructionist?
ICAR is nothing.
Okay.
ICAR is non-denominational. Which like all of these things are riffing on the same theme, which is just we don't want to do all the halacha and here's our spin.
Okay, great. So same thing.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, I feel like nervous to even say this on the podcast. Like the rabbi of this shul, I'm obsessed with him. He's so funny and like legitimately cool, which is so rare.
Yeah.
In a rabbi.
Like actually funny and not just wannabe
like
comedy
actually,
funny.
Like actually funny.
Okay.
And
shout out to all the
I was like asking
rabbis.
him to explain the difference between like Reconstructionist, Reform, Renewal, Conservative, Orthodox. And
wait, is part of your show?
No, we were just chatting.
Okay.
And I like stayed at his house and we like stayed up till like 3 a.m. every night.
Oh my God.
Like
just schmooze pillow
schmoozing.
talking.
I'm obsessed with him.
I love that.
He's so great.
Is he single?
No, he's married and has a husband. And his husband.
You didn't say he was gay.
And he's gay.
I like him so much more now.
I know.
Okay.
And his husband is doing the Mandel Fellowship with me.
Oh, nice.
So I'm also
friends with the husband.
good buddies with the husband.
So did they book you because of that? Because they knew you through that?
No, they booked me because literally like 2.5 years ago, that rabbi DM'd me and was like, do you like ever perform for synagogues? He was
on
one
TikTok.
of the first. Yeah, on
Great.
TikTok. And I was like, yeah, I should. Let me write a show.
Yeah.
And we like had a phone call where we were talking about like what it would be like to do a show at his synagogue. And in that phone call, I was like, this guy's so funny and so smart. And so then I emailed him later and I was like, I'm trying to figure out like what I want to say in a show to synagogues. And I really like your opinions. Like, can we have some like brainstorming calls?
Nice.
So I had like some brainstorming with him and he really helped.
Wow.
And we he is the root of a lot of the jokes in the show.
That's awesome.
I know.
And then he got to see it.
Yeah. And so then finally we got to do it at his synagogue. Okay. It's Reconstructionist. Okay. This is how he explained Reconstructionist. He was like, okay, so conservative and Orthodox base all of their practices around halakha.
Okay. I don't like where this is going.
Okay. And the 3 R's, Reform, Renewal, Reconstructionist, base their practices around other things. And I was like,
just anything.
I was like, are you allowed to say that? I was like, do you know that that's what the Orthodox people are saying about you? And I was like,
they're right.
Are they right? And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're right, but it's not like as simple as that. And then he
Right.
explained, it's like, he gave a beautiful explanation that was very convincing, but I forget a lot of it. It was like,
because I mean, I'm gonna fight you on it, but like for the bit.
oh, like I'm like,
Because what's the point of Judaism around not? I mean, it depends.
I know.
How do you define halacha?
I don't know. The problem is I don't know, because I feel the same way.
It's like
but
saying
then like I'm not living my entire life by a halacha. But then when I meet other Jews, I'm like, so what do you do? I'm like, so
like how do you observe?
Yeah, exactly. But then I'm like,
no, I don't think.
then I'm like, I'm not observing halacha.
I think there's a difference between observing and not observing versus saying like we don't even value that. We don't even like take anything from this.
That definitely was not what he was saying.
Okay.
It was, and I think I misquoted him somewhere in there, but what he was saying was basically that like social justice work is equally important in Judaism
as halacha
to following the laws of halacha.
Oh yeah, and you
And-
can see social justice work is part of halacha.
Yeah,
Tikkun olam,
there you go.
everyone's favorite word.
There you go.
It's not
And so-
orthodox.
So he was just saying that like Reconstructionist Judaism literally was started by a guy who was like, what if we did Judaism but without God? Which I think is fascinating.
Yeah,
And I'm not
That
entirely
doesn't-
sure what it means like without God.
right.
I'm not sure if he was like totally atheist, or if he was like, we're not going to hammer people on the head with it, or we're not going to require people to believe in it in order to be here. But it focuses a lot more on social justice than following halacha.
Yeah, and that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, I the thing that bothers me more is to be like halacha doesn't exist.
Yeah, which he would never say.
Right.
I mean, he's still like keeping Shabbos and like
Great.
being a rabbi.
and you know what? Even if you don't keep it, I don't care. As long as you acknowledge as the arbiter of rules of Judaism.
Well,
yes,
you are.
yes.
Yeah, you are.
Like for me personally, even I don't care if you keep it or not. The thing is people who like ignore that. It's like that's such. It's just such a part of our history. Like it's part of who we are as a people, and to just pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Versus saying, oh, this guy wrote it and it's wrong. Even if you say a guy wrote the Torah, it's not from God. It's still part of our tradition. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's my only point there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it so much. I mean, I think this is what basically every Jew who's not Orthodox is constantly wrestling with, which is like, why do we do any of the rules if we're not going to do all of them?
If we're not going to do it for God.
Yeah, and especially if you're not going to do it for
I love
for
this
God.
conversation.
Oh my God, me too.
Let's just talk about God.
How have we not
I don't
ever
know.
had this
We don't
conversation?
really talk. We talk about Judaism on a very like cultural way, but not in a really deep way.
Oh my God, let's get deep.
Let's get deep.
Yeah, like what do you think
Yeah.
the like Jewish observances that you do?
Yeah, which is not that much.
Yeah, why are you
It was
doing
very
them?
little. Honestly, I hardly do any serious Jewish. I don't know how to say it. Like,
yeah,
what
like
is serious? Like, I don't keep Shabbat in like the Orthodox way. I don't do anything in the Orthodox way.
yeah.
Let's put it that way. I think about it a lot in terms of like, what I would want my kids or my family to do if Amir Tashem one day I have one.
Absolutely.
Which is, and for sure a lot of it is coming from the fact that I grew up Orthodox, but I really do want to have a Shabbat with like no phones.
Yeah.
And part of that, and the only way that works is being in a community of other people.
Yeah.
who also do
Yes.
Shabbat with no phones.
100%. Otherwise, you're just isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I have so many just beautiful, beautiful memories with my family and my friends and my siblings, just like having to find things to do on Shabbat because there's literally nothing else. And
you get so creative.
Yes. We would like play pillow forts and make up characters.
Good for you.
It's so good for you, especially today where kids just like have no brains because they're constantly being fed TikTok.
I have no brain.
Yeah, I have no brain. And I used to have a brain, and now I don't have it anymore.
Literally.
Yeah, but I do try to do no social media on Shabbos. So that's my little thing.
I love that.
And I fail sometimes. But part of being in a community of other people that don't keep Shabbat is then it comes into kosher.
Yeah.
Right? Because
if you're in a community, oh my God, I think about this all the time. Like if you want to be around a community of people who keep Shabbos, you need to keep kosher, otherwise they're never coming to your house.
Exactly. And then I think, okay, like God has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's okay. Like, I think I don't want to do anything personally because I'm like, oh, a God told me to do it, because that doesn't feel true to me.
Yeah.
What feels true to me is like I actually see a physical, spiritual, mental benefit in this practice.
Yeah.
And the practice of being in community, in such a strong community, that like God is a plus. If you believe in it, then that's great. And if not, and like but you don't have to. And I think that takes out a lot of like the judgment and the shame and the morality of like you're a bad person if you don't keep it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I think about it.
I love how you explain that like there, like you can see tangible benefit from doing these practices.
Yeah.
That like you can see spiritual benefit from doing these practices. There's it reminds me like almost of like acting school, where it's like an inside out or an outside in approach. Like inside out is like you get the feeling, you feel it, you feel really devastated, and then you do the scene about being devastated. And then, which feels like it feels very Christian in that it's like you start with the belief and then everything goes from there. Like there's a real Christian belief that's like as soon as you like accept Jesus, like your life will just naturally change. And which I don't think is true. And or not true for everyone. And then there's also this other thing, like in acting, you can sort of like put your body in the like pattern of grief, which is like a hunched shoulder, like doing that like breath. There's a whole like Indian classical theater technique of like teaching you the breath patterns for emotions.
Wow.
Like being really in love is like little breaths in.
Oh my God.
And it like you really feel your body doing it, and then like that's fear is this like choppy.
When did you study this?
In South Africa.
This is so intense.
It's so interesting.
Wow.
And so like this feels like that's the outside in way. You put your body in it and it gets you somewhere. Like that's like kind of what Jewish observance feels like sometimes, where like you do these practices.
Yeah.
And and something good comes out of it.
Yeah.
Good in different ways.
Right. And I mean, I think Orthodox people would say like, yeah, you do. Like there's different levels of religion, right? But the base level is just doing it, even if you don't believe in it. And then once you do it enough, you start to believe in it, ideally, in that world. I don't know. I'm also a huge hypocrite because I don't do any of it right now.
Totally.
So it's kind of like...
But you also like, you haven't left Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
You still like go to shul sometimes.
Yeah.
You still host Shabbat dinner sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like...
But it's a very like when it's convenient for me Judaism. versus what I'm describing as like, okay, if there's,
Inconvenient Judaism.
super inconvenient. You have a show that someone wants to book you on Friday night. Sorry, that's a no.
Honestly.
Which you do.
I do that.
Look at you.
But that's basically it. It's basically like I turn down shows on Shabbos. That's basically it.
Yeah. No, you don't work on Shabbos.
And I won't work on Shabbos at all.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah, it is really nice.
But you'll like drive.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. What do you think, like, what do you think about God?
Goddess.
Yeah. Yes. Queen.
What do I think about God? I think I don't believe in the God of the Orthodox teachings, but I do believe in a higher power. I don't really know if she has an opinion on our lives or like an impact on our lives.
Yeah.
But I like to have a gratitude practice.
Yeah.
So like in that way, like, I'm thanking some kind of spiritual thing for what I have.
Yeah, there's some you and thank you.
Yes. What about you?
I think about this. I think about it all the time because I'm like so obsessed with religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I meet someone who deeply believes in God, their description of what they believe in is incredibly convincing. And I'm like, when I'm hearing it, I'm like, yes,
God is real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, they're all so convincing.
Yeah.
You give me two different Jews. You give me like an Orthodox Jew who's like, he's like a father, or like God is the like duality of the like, Kabbalah, like all of that, like mysticism. That feels right to me. Like God is like the mother. God is the father. God is, I heard someone say like that, like we create God every time we do ritual. Like every time we do Shabbos, that creates God. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard something that feels truer than another thing. Even like hearing about the Christian God being like this God wants to save you and love you and like cherish you. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Hearing about like one of my best friends is pagan, and the way she talks about like spirit and nature and the great mother, I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Basically, whatever religion anyone tells you, you're like, that's
convinced.
right.
I'm in. So I love hanging out with people who are religious.
Have you read Maria Bamford's book? Sure, I'll join your cult.
No. Oh my God. I feel like that could be the title of my book.
I haven't read it, but it sounds like applicable.
Yeah, like all of these things make sense and feel so good. No one has claimed my allegiance. I think I've been thinking a lot recently because I've been sharing more about my experience with Christianity.
Yeah.
Like I've been thinking a lot about, it was this like 6-month introduction to evangelical Christianity. It was when I was in college. I was studying abroad in South Africa, where I learned about they're called rasas.
It's amazing.
Or at least that's how my non-Indian teacher told me they were called. Yeah, I'm like, who knows if any of this is legit.
Yeah.
And I was like super depressed, and like I found, and there were these incredibly good looking Christians who lived next door to me, and one of them invited me to their church. And for those 6 months, I told that group of people that I believed in Jesus and that I believed in God and that I believed God had saved me. Wow. And I'm still trying to figure out how much of that I really believed.
Mm.
And like,
What does it mean when you say God has saved me?
well, that was the problem, was
I never
what they meant
Right.
is saved from hell.
Oh, right. You know, it's so interesting because I was also, this is such a tangent, but I was watching, did you see the new TikTok cult documentary on Netflix?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet, but I was literally planning on watching it tonight.
That's so funny because that came up on my Netflix yesterday and I was like, this is the kind of thing I would never normally watch, but I'm going to watch it because I know it's going to be in the zeitgeist. I want to be involved for one.
Yes.
But I watched the first episode and it was really interesting, and it was like so much of it was exactly what you're describing of I need to be saved from hell, and like this is gonna save me from hell and will save my family from hell.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it at all. It doesn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah.
And I can't.
I
don't get it.
It's so I feel the same, like just the idea that there's something to be saved from.
Right.
So crazy. But also when I heard it, I also heard, even though they kind of in some ways meant saved from hell, I think they also did mean another way, which is how I heard it, which was saved from bad feelings. Saved
like that.
from like depression.
Yeah.
Saved from bad choices.
Right.
Like just,
or like an emptiness or a meaningless.
yeah, like just like saved from all of that stuff that sucks, you know? And I was so depressed at the time. So that I was like, it felt like I was being saved from depression.
Oh, I love that.
And that was so compelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my mom get in this fight all the time because even though she has a very, she's not like super observant.
Yeah.
But I mean, she is in a way, but she's just like, religious people are happier. Like, there's just something about it that they have meaning and they have a happier life. And like, if you can remove all the doubts and the shit and the problematic stuff in religion, it's like, oh, you'll be happy.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's and then I fight back and I'm like, yeah, but like that's just turning off your brain and becoming a sheep and being ignorant to that's me being dramatic, but like if you turn off your brain and stop thinking critically about the world, of course you'll be happier.
Well, I think it's also like I've been meditating.
So intense.
I love this conversation. This episode's gonna go for 4 hours.
Well, we have to wrap up.
Do we have
soon.
a person? When is she coming?
35 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, but we also want to record a Patreon episode.
Do we?
I thought we were going to.
Yeah.
We can record a short Patreon episode.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about all my group sex.
That's honestly, listener, if you're still here, you should get on the Patreon.
Get on the Patreon
right now because you're going to hear the juiciest episode.
It's so intense.
Okay, you're so right.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should just continue this conversation like at any time.
Great.
But like I've been meditating a lot recently and thinking about how much you choose your thoughts. Like I feel like I've been really envisioning my life right now as like there's just shit over here, there's shit over here, and for the moment I can just focus on like peace. Oh, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was trying to avoid.
I know it's so nice of you to avoid my mental health. And I was trying to let's talk about my mental health.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to God. That's a lighter subject.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Does God exist?
But yeah, I just think you can choose to believe stuff, and everyone chooses to believe stuff.
100%.
And like,
I mean, that's belief.
Yeah.
Also, right?
That's the whole point. It's not a belief if you have proof.
Yes. Yeah. Remember my rabbi in seminary said that to me. So serious. No, but because this is there's an example of in the Talmud. There's like, have you heard of the Bar Kokhba rebellion?
No.
There was a guy that a bunch of huge rabbis, including Rabbi Akiva, like one of the
We love
biggest
him.
rabbis, they were like, this guy is Mashiach. This guy is, we should all follow him and do what he says because he's the guy. And
Wow.
yeah, and this is all written in the Gemara. And they were wrong. And it was like all these people followed Bar Kokhba into this revolt against the Romans, some big empire at the time.
Wow.
And like they all died. And I was like to my rabbi, like, you know, Rabbi Akiva, he's wrong. Like he's wrong about this huge thing.
Wow.
But we're gonna take everything else he says as like the word of God.
Oh, Ray, that's a good question.
Thank you.
That is such a good question.
and he was just like, you know, everything in your life is a choice of how you believe it and what you want to believe. And he's like, even to the person that you end up marrying, even to the man that you marry, he would have said. But like, you know, you're never going to be 100% sure on anything. And even if you're like 80 to 90% sure, you know, you have to make that choice at the end of the day. There's always going to be that gap. And that was, I don't know if it's like the best answer to my question. I think it was, you know, my question
you
was...
had another question, really, which is what gives this guy the authority to speak for God?
Yeah, exactly.
When he's proven wrong
yes.
about a big thing.
Exactly. And like, you know, exactly what you're saying, but down to the minutia of like, oh, he has this opinion that like, you know, women aren't obligated, or women can't be, I'm trying to think of the English word for it, but like basically if a woman says kiddush, a man can't be yotze from her brach. Like a man can't fulfill his obligation of kiddush if a woman says it.
Yeah.
But a woman can fulfill her obligation of kiddush.
And the listening women, the women listening.
Yes. If a man says it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
So
like that we're believing here.
Right,
Yeah,
that
that is like, that's the law.
I think like, oh my God.
And I also made that up. I don't know if he actually said that, but like things like that.
But stuff like that. Like, yeah, like I think when you get down to it, like all of these like texts in the way that like we create God, like we chose
Yes.
to believe that they're from God.
Yes.
And I always like the interpretation that sometimes something is included in a divine text to show you that humans are idiots.
Ooh, I like that.
And also sometimes like God is an idiot. And like that our notion of divinity can make bad choices, like when he swallows up a bunch of Israelites in the earth for complaining about their food supply. Like, we hate manna. It's like, what is wrong with you, you genocidal maniac?
Oh no.
Also just how much of Judaism, how much of our like old text is about violence.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other thing.
Yeah. Were you at Ikar for Purim?
No.
They did this thing where it, you know,
the Write a New Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Write a New Story at the time where they talk about how the Jews like killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is a great question because it's like, it's so fucked up.
It is.
The story's so fucked up. The king couldn't call off the war, the angry mob.
Yeah.
God couldn't call off the angry mob. So the Jews just had to murder them.
And you know what the craziest thing? Learning that as a kid, I was like, yeah, go murder them.
Yeah.
That was the narrative.
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
The story of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Jews murdered a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Love this.
But we don't condone violence on Yenta.
No way.
No.
We're taking a stand. You heard it here first.
We're brave.
We're brave.
And on that note, should we wrap up?
Yeah, and now if you're still here, literally sign up for the Patreon right now because you're about to hear so much freaking gossip.
Patreon.com/Yenta.
We love you.